In this video, you're going to be identifying which equation matches the graph. So this is similar to what I did in the other video where we had to figure out which equation matched the table. So you have these equation answer choices, but this time you have a graph, a line on the graph. So what you're going to do, similar to what you did on the table with equation problems, is you're going to choose one good point on the line that's on the graph. Now, if you look closely, the area that I'm pointing at right here is not a good point because that's in the middle of somewhere. There's quite a few. There's that point right here. If you keep going up, there's another point right here, and so on. But if you could, I would try to go ahead and pick a point that's on the positive side. So I'm going to pick that point right there. Now I'm going to write out what the ordered pairs are. So for that, remember, it's your x, so that's 4, comma, your y, which is 8. So the ordered pair that I'm going to use to substitute into each of these equations is 4, comma, 8. So on the first answer choice, I'm going to go ahead and substitute in my y value, which is 8, equals 4 times my x value of 4 plus 7. Then I'm either going to type this whole thing in or piece by piece. So 4 times 4 is 16 plus 7, and if I add that up together I get 23, and 23 does not equal 8, so that would not be the answer. So I'm going to go through and do the same thing on my other answer choices. So y is 8, 0.25. Anytime you're substituting in a value for a variable, I would highly suggest to fill it in using parentheses. So my x value is 4 and plus 7. So working out 0.25 times 4, that gives me 1 plus 7, which gives me 8, and 8 does equal 8, but that might be my answer. And I keep going with the other ones. So that would be 8 equals 7 times 4 plus 4, that's 28, plus 4, add that up, you get 32, and 32 does not equal 8, so that's not it either. Now we go to the next one. We have 8 equals a negative 0.25 times 4 minus 7. Now, over here on the side in this green table, I did write the integer rules. I know we had this on the front board in the classroom, but this is the best that I can do. Adding or subtracting integers, if they're the same signs, you add the numbers and you keep the same sign. If they're different signs, you subtract and take the sign of the larger. Then for multiplying or dividing, a negative times a negative will give you a positive, negative times positive, negative, and positive times positive is a positive. But if you're typing it into a calculator that has a negative sign, then it's going to do it for you. But if not, we're going to need to know our rules. So over here, I have a negative times a positive, so my answer is going to come out to be a negative. And when I calculate 0.25 times 4, that's a 1. Bring down, I only see a minus 7, so I'm just going to bring that down. 1 minus 7, now if you look, they are the same sign, so since the rule says if they're the same signs, you add the numbers, so 1 plus 7 is 8, and keep the sign the same, so that's going to be a negative. Now, negative 8 does not equal positive 8. So right there, we eliminated all of the answer choices, leaving us with B for our correct equation that matches the graph. Moving on to the second example, let's see here. All right, so now we have which equation best matched the graph. So there's the equations again. We're going to look on the graph and choose a good point that's on the line at an exact spot. So when I look closely, I see that looks like a good one. I can do that one, I can do that one. So there's quite a few points on the graph I can choose, but I'm going to pick this one. So let's see, the ordered pair is starting at the origin, -2 and 6, +6. So that's the ordered pair that I'm going to use to substitute into my equation answers. Looking at the first answer choice, A, my y value is 6 equals -0.25. Remember, substitute in your values in parentheses. So times -2 minus, and notice I wrote the negative sign and the minus sign different sizes so I can tell the difference. I don't accidentally mix that up. All right, so moving along to my calculations, I have the table of integer rules over here again. So when I look at the first part, I'm going to be doing a negative times a negative, and according to the table, a negative times a negative is a positive. So then I'm going to do 0.25 times 2, and that's going to give me a positive 0.5, bring down the -2, and 0.5 minus 2, so let's see, I have a positive and a negative number, so that means I need to subtract the 2, and when I subtract 0.5 minus 2, I get 1.5, and the rule over on the side over here says different signs subtract, take the sign of the larger number. Well, the 2 is the larger, so I'm going to take the negative. Now, negative 1.5 does not equal 6, so A is not the answer. So I'm going to continue going through, and that's going to give me 6 equals 4 times -2 plus 2, positive times a negative. Well, let's see, my rule, positive and a negative equal a negative number. So that's going to be negative, and 4 times 2 is 8, plus 2. I have different signs, so I'm going to subtract. I get 6 when I do 8 minus 2. 8 is the larger, so it's going to be a -6. And -6 does not equal +6. Okay, next one. Y is 6, -2 times -2 minus 4. So negative times a negative. Let's see the rule. Negative times a negative is positive. 2 times 2 is 4, and 4 minus 4. Notice positive and a negative number that are being combined says to subtract. So when you subtract, you'll get 0, and 0 does not equal 6. So I'm going to keep going on the last one. I may have made a mistake on the previous one, so let's double check. So 6 equals -4 times -2 minus 2. And so if I do -4 times -2, negative times a negative is positive. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 2 is going to be 6. And 6 does equal 6, so there we just confirmed that D is the answer. All right, well, hope this video helps. Remember, choose one good point on the graph and use those XY values to substitute them into your equation answer choices. If you end up with more than one answer choice that equals each other, then you need to choose another point on the line and try out those remaining answer choices. Good luck on the assignment. Let me know if you need any help.